Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. As you guys know, we've talked about getting the Democratic Party and progressives, in fact, engage in community. And I was contacted by Ron Blake earlier this week telling us about the revival of the Democratic Party in Liberty County, Texas. That couldn't have made me any more happy, and I can imagine just about every progressive or Democrat happy in this area. But anyhow, welcome to Politics Done Right. Ron, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you for having us. We are a small county. We are located just northeast of Harris County, and we have turned red like almost all small rural counties. We are rural, and we have been that way for a long time. This year, I was contacted by John Haire, who is running for Congress, and it was a random call, and I didn't have his contact information, of course, but I picked up on it, and we talked, and before long, he and I were working together. I was his campaign rep in Liberty County, and since then I've become even more with him and with Liberty County. I had walked away from politics last year and last election in 2020, having run for county commissioner during the year of COVID. I can't even say it. I didn't have a budget to put a yard sign out in my own yard. So I said, I don't want to run in the general because I can't go out and do what I wanted to do, meet people in coffee shops and all of that. But that's another story. What happened this year is that John came down and we made contact. I don't remember how, honestly, with Cleveland. And they invited us to come up. We did. Then they invited us to do more. Then Michael Mark, the Liberty County chair of the Democratic Party in Liberty, said, let's have a campaign rally. And we did in Cleveland. And we went through the usual throes of trying to get it organized. But Michael did a fabulous job organizing it, bringing in a lot of people. And from that, we have birthed a grassroots movement of devoted Democrats in Cleveland. And I hope we can spread it to the rest of Liberty County.
Well, let me go ask John here, first of all, what made him decide to bite the bullet and run in a district that likely wasn't conducive to a Democrat winning? And I think I'm going to love your answer because I can think about it. What made you do that?
Well, it was about a year and a half ago. And Governor Abbott of Texas was doing all kinds of crazy things. Open carry of guns, critical race theory, censoring books. I think the Republican Party has just gone off the rails on the right side. And I said, well, somebody's got to do something. And so I contacted a few Democratic Party friends, and they contacted some people. And pretty soon I was in front of screening committees. And then there was the primary election, and here I am now. So I'm a neophyte in politics.
And I imagine looking at the screen at all these great people here from Liberty County, I imagine this made up the posse that revived the county. Is that right, Rony? Is that, can we consider this group on the screen right now, the ones that said we are, in as much as we are a likely red county, we are going to start talking about the Democratic policies that likely everybody wants?
Yes. So everyone that you see here has contributed to the rural areas of the Congressional District 36 that John Haire is running. We know, due to the size of what Congressional District 36 is, which is the lower end of East County, of Harris County, all the way out to the Louisiana border, it's vast and diverse. We know that there are Democrats out there. They just haven't been engaged. And that's why we have people like Ron Blake and Michael Mark and Miranda helping us out. Like, it's it's difficult to cover such a huge geographical area in a short amount of time to beat such a red location. But the thing is that the numbers display that Democrats are coming out to vote.
Mm-hmm.
Like the thing is that the first week is usually Republican week of early vote. Second week is whenever over that weekend, the churches begin to do their thing. I believe the program is called Souls to the Polls.
Souls to the Polls, yeah.
Right. Those programs start to engage, and then it causes for lack of a better term, like I want to say trickle down effect, but it's more of a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody starts getting engaged. They have to make a decision at this point because they are likely voters. It's not that they don't feel like they don't want to vote. It's just they are not pressured into voting at that point. If you as not a candidate, but as like a person aren't taking out like your friends with you to go vote, or at least engaging them in political debate, because right now the atmosphere is hot. Like for the terms of Republicans, they're sticking to a somewhat of a lie on crime.
Right.
But the thing is that when Democrats bite back, there aren't Democrats that are taking in the Republican message, because we are de facto a red state.
Right.
That's just it. Right. So by and large, if we want to win, we have to appeal to the middle. And that's what John Haire does. John Haire can appeal to the average entrepreneur because he's a nuclear engineer. Who can say that? Like,
right.
And the thing is that if there's an intense debate that goes on, John Haire will just apply the scientific method and just be like, I understand that we have our differences, but this is what the facts say. And I admire that about it. Like, it doesn't matter if you're red or blue. I think you have to respect the fact that he is being nonpartisan on his decisions. So that's the best message to take. I definitely believe that that Texas is more blue than we think. It's just message.
I have to agree with you. And I think if listening to my show, you know that I preach that a lot. Most people believe in the actual concepts that Democrats are pushing out there. And if more people were to be able to just get the message and to be bluntly not fearful in putting that message out, I think a lot more people would come home. Michael, I see you there. Are you guys mostly around scattered? I mean, you talk about how big the 36th district is. Are you guys that I see on the screen here scattered throughout this district? And how do you communicate to make sure you're working on one platform or on all walking in the same direction?
Well, first of all, Egberto, thank you very much for having us on your show. It's an honor to be here. To answer your question, we try to stay in communication with the other party chairs around the district. We try to stay in communication on Facebook and the internet, and just let them know that we support them. In turn, they support us, and that helps us to grow stronger and get the message out to the Democrats in our district. And we try to work together. As Ron said, we had a rally in Cleveland a few weeks back, and John Haire was one of our featured speakers, and we just wanted the community to get to know John Haire and hear the Democratic message and try to fire up the base, get people out to vote, and hopefully turn our county and our state blue.
That's excellent. Now, how are were you guys received in Cleveland? Did you get a good turnout, and did you get a multi-party type turnout, or was it just let's say a group of Democrats that came together?
Well, Egberto, I think we got a lot of good Democrats out. We got some other folks out who were maybe curious, wanted to see what we were all about. I think the reception was good. I think the reception has been good overall. As was said, though, we are in a very red county.
Right.
We're in a very red district. I think it goes 80-20 Republican every cycle. So we're trying to change that. And
It's challenging because it's a very conservative red district, but we're not going to give up, and we're going to continue to fight and get the message out.
You never should. I want to go to. I'm going to go back to you, John, in a second. I just want to, in deference, ask Miranda if she has something that she wants to add to what was said before.
Yes, actually, I have a few things that I wanted to say. I wanted to add to it. The rally, it was indeed, it was a good turnout. It was put on by the precinct chair of Precinct 20, which is Ms. Dolores Terry, and co-organized with Minister Linda Clay, who's also on the Zoom call. I would say that I don't necessarily believe that Texas is all red. Mm-hmm. I personally believe in being that, I'm one of the ones who actually go out and knock on doors. I believe that we have a lot of blue, but I feel like they're not engaged, and they haven't been engaged for a while. This is not my first rodeo. I've been organizing in Cleveland with several different Democratic people throughout the city to ensure that we get our party out to vote and get them not only out to vote, but also get them informed. And in the past, it has been difficult to get the resources that we need. But when Ms. Berry came to our rally, we were able to really start coming together and really unifying. And I think that was the important part. I think that was the fire that we needed under us. So we got out, and of course we started knocking on doors. We started hosting other rallies. Of course, we spoke about Social Pulse, who was organized again by Minister Clay and Ms. Dolores Terry. And of course, we had a lot of people in the community that came out and supported us on that this past weekend. So I feel like this time, because we're more unified, we're receiving the resources that we need, I feel like that we're going to get this blue wave going.
I mean, from the time you said organizer, you're an on-the-ground organizer and you knock on doors, you had me right there, because that is what it's going to take. Grassroots movement. So for all of you guys that are doing grassroots movements, you guys are the real heroes. It's not going to be top down anymore. It's going to be on the ground that get things done. And you guys are my hero. John, you wanted to step in. I just wanted to make sure to be, get everybody engaged.
Sure. You asked how we communicate. Well, we have weekly Zoom meetings. We found that Zoom is very good. The county is maybe 200, 250 miles long.
Wow.
So the district is that long. So 8 counties. So it's really hard to communicate, but we do that by Zoom. And also there's a mass texting that helps a whole lot. You asked about the reception we get. Well, in addition to the rally we had in Cleveland, we had a parade in Liberty, the city of Liberty, which is the county seat.
Yeah.
And it was 55, 60 units, entries into the parade. I walked in the parade. We had a Congressional District 36 float. And in general, I have been well received by everybody. I shook hands, I handed out candy and said, vote for me, John Haire. And people smiled and nodded and as if they might actually consider voting for me. So I've had a lot of fun visiting these counties. I think we Democrats have got to win the rural counties in order to win the state.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm finding is that my opponent says he's running to represent East Texas values, but nobody looks at what he votes, how he votes. He votes against health care. He votes against expanded infrastructure. He votes against jobs. He just votes no on so many projects that would drastically improve the district. Nobody looks at his votes. They just listen to the rhetoric. And to me, it's frustrating.
Well, John, one of the things that I speak about Democrats all the time is that we just don't know how to fight. In other words, let me just take a little bit of liberty here. I'm in Harris County, but I'm in Kingwood, which is a very red area in Harris County. And and Charlie can tell you, we sit down and we speak to a lot of our Republican neighbors in Starbucks, et cetera. And what's very interesting is before they know that you're a Democrat or whatever, it is always easy to have a conversation. And it's amazing how they are not really engaged with the party per se, but they don't think that there's somebody else offering a solution. And when you sit down and speak to them one-on-one and they find out that, yeah, I agree with you, the only sticking point at the end of the conversation is, but I'm a Democrat.
Right. If you got a D beside your name, it's an automatic closeout.
Well, it is. And that is the thing that we have to break. I mean, I can recall a conversation where I had with a woman, and by the time we were done, she was loving healthcare for all. I didn't call it healthcare for all. We just went ahead and called it, we just described what it did. And by the end of the conversation, she was all in. In fact, she's the one who described it at the end. And then when she was informed that, well, this guy's a Democrat, it was like, but you're so nice. So, I mean, your stance that you made about the float in Cleveland makes sense, right? Because people have to be aware of you first. They have to engage you. They have to feel that you're not some caricature. And after they realize you're not a caricature, then you can engage them, right? So, I mean, when I hear Miranda out there doing all this block walking and talking to people, that is how it starts. We've neglected, in my opinion, and you guys can correct me, please. I think we've neglected as Democrats the rural areas. Anybody can answer that one.
I definitely agree with you on that. I've said that this time and time again that it's going to be small town Texas that's going to win this election for us.
Yes.
because Texas is so big. A lot of the towns are small within it, and collectively, that's kind of who decides who's going to run our state. And I feel like if we were more engaged with just people in our community or on our block that are Democrats or Republicans, if we just engaged and talked about the issues and talked about what the right issue is or morally what's right for you, I think that we would see a lot more of the community going out and voting Democrat. Because, I mean, if you look at some of the history of just over the past few years, what we've experienced, I would say that anyone would agree that what we have now is not working.
You're absolutely right. Before I get to you, Miss Berry hadn't had anything to say. Would you like to add to the discussion, Miss Berry?
I would. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I'm Sharon Berry. I am the Senate District 3 Committeewoman. Hello. And in my Senate district, we have 18 counties. But one thing I wanted to echo is it is a matter of messaging. We really do not get the word out. I was the county chair in Houston County for 4 terms. And I promised them that we would move the needle if I had their support, and I would do all the things that basically wasn't getting done. And that was going to knock on every door. And I remember the current mayor who had a despicable reputation, and she always put everything that went wrong in Houston County on this particular neighborhood. I knocked on every door in that neighborhood, and I just wanted to see why weren't you involved? And it was a matter of communication and them not knowing what was going on. But I didn't just blame the other side. And then I asked them, do you have kids in the elementary school? Are you on the, in the PTA? Are you a member of the PTA? Or do you go to commissioner's court? This is a two-way street, and we have to engage. We have to be accountable. Right now, for you all know, we have 254 counties. We have probably about 50 of those counties that do not have a county chair. Then of that, we have 28 of those counties that have African-American chairs. And of that African-American chair, 18 are in East Texas. So that is your leadership. So if you don't empower that particular group with your ministerial alliance, with your activists, and the same with Tejanos, the Tejano Democrat, if you don't empower that particular entity to be your legs, your eyes, your ears to those voters, you're missing out. You're missing out. And so again, but then that comes back to we have to hold our county chairs, our precinct chairs accountable. And then if you look on the website, you see you don't have precinct chairs that are listed. And I find it hard to believe in a county, 20, 30, 40,000 people, you don't have anybody that think like you other than the county chair. No. Again, messaging. Again, attitude, apathy, just not engaging. Because a lot of, and this is my opinion, because I've traveled. I used to be the vice chair of the Texas Coalition of Black Democrats. So I made it a point. I had the Beto model. I was going to every county. In Houston County, I was going to every church. I figure, you might not like me, but you're not going to do too much to me on Sunday with the good Lord right there next to me. So that was my best bet, to get them on a Sunday. They couldn't, because every time I got the reputation, every time I showed up, it was never there, Sharon. That's the Democratic chair. So I just had to kind of just back up a little bit. But what I think I did, and I'm not going with what I'm most proud of, is that I tried to put Houston County on the map. I tried to make us a voice, have an opinion, have a presence. And so we can do the same thing. I think one thing, one of the things I want for Senate District 3 is our motto is we're a winner. We are a winner, and we have the numbers. We just have to get the message out, and we have to engage people.
I love that. I simply love that. Rony, you wanted to get back in. Why don't you tell me what you wanted to add to that?
Well, the SD3 chair actually, she hit the nail on the head. That's what I was trying to say. Every point that she stated was absolutely correct, along with what Miranda said. She is right. Rural areas, in order to truly make the democratic machine work, rural areas have to be activated. But the thing is that that's already 2 points made. Really, you can record this whole thing and make it a democratic playbook, because what I'm about to say is not a surprise. Everybody receives text messages. Everybody receives mail and all that stuff. But you have to understand, in order to do all of that, what Miranda is asking for, what the SD3 chair is asking for, money needs to come in. That being said, so whenever a candidate asks for money, or when your chair asks for money, they need that money to help your community. Just like a church, when they ask for the tithe, that money is going to go to something for a greater good. And it's not they're putting it in their pockets. No, it's being spent, because otherwise we lose, right?
I want to put it a little bit, quite exactly what you said, but I may want to get a bit deeper in regards to the party. I find that the party generally is too centralized towards cities, big cities, etc., right? And we've just about ceded rural areas to the Republican Party. In other words, there are all kinds of folks that live all over the rural areas that we pretty much disregard. They are no lesser or greater than those in the city. So I think one of the things with whatever happened in this election going forward, that as an independent broadcaster, I intend to push, is that we do things on the grassroots level, period. And when Charlie told me about you guys, and I heard from Ron, for me, this was I looked at what I heard as this is the prototype. The prototype doesn't go through HCDP, or the prototype doesn't go through all the big particular great guys in Austin that run the party, because I think the way we judge people is by failure or success. And so far in Texas, I think we've shown a great ability to fail. And insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. I honor you guys for what you're doing, and I hope that you're going to continue doing that. And please, whenever you need any kind of information told, I'll be more than happy to put that out. I'll be more than happy to get you guys on our station that goes all the way through East Texas on air, because I can tell you that it's inspirational listening to people from District 36 and SD3 speaking the way you guys are actually speaking. So without further ado, if anybody wants to close us out, since Ron brought us together, I'm going to ask Ron to close us out.
Thank you. I wish we had another 30 minutes, but we don't. I wanted more than.
Hold 1 second. Could you mute your phone so that we can hear Ron? Thank you. Dolores, could you please mute your phone? Thank you.
I wanted more than anything to let the boots on the ground tell the story. I would suggest perhaps another episode very soon where we get the boots on the ground folks on to talk about what they did, because I'll be as truthful as I can be. Those of us at the top basically stepped back and got out of the way.
Let me tell you, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
These folks did it all. They did it all. We had ideas, we brought resources, and we paid a little bit of money, not much. And the Cleveland crew, as I have named them, did it all. They deserve all the credit. And they are devoted to their cause that they are working on. And it's a cause of bringing people together for the good of democracy, for the good of the country, for the good of the Democratic Party.
Thank you very much, Ron. And to close out, since we actually have a candidate that's running in CD 36, let's ask him to go ahead and make his plea to the folk. Go ahead, John Haire.
Well, I'm a little bit disturbed by the lack of voting in the first week of the election, particularly young folks. When I say young folks, I mean people less than 50 years old. Democrats have an advantage of 4-1 to 7-1 when they vote. When they don't vote, we lose. So if you know of any young person or your daughter, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, whatever, ask them to vote. Make sure they vote between now and a week from today.
Thank you so kindly, SD3 CD 36. It's been my honor to have you on Politics Done Right. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.